keep the good times going, the brand is forced to rethink its very core.
That's what was my thought of an SUV. And of course, the last 4 or 5 years became very clear, even to me, as a sports car guy, that SUVs were very much part of everyday life now. So we set about it. Now, I know it's an exaggerated drawing, because that's the way we do it, but the essence of this we have to capture in the real car.
The quest to redefine Jaguar starts deep within the company's highly secretive design studio.
When we had the challenge to create the first SUV, we just had the right measure of confidence and, just being very aware of the fact we hadn't done this before.
The first order of business is to alter an SUV's historically utilitarian roots.
The reason that SUVs didn't work before, they were built for functional reasons, the way they performed didn't really matter to people. Now technology allows the car to actually be driven quite well, almost as quick as a sedan. I wouldn't say as quick as a sports car, but certainly in the realm.
The team starts by examining how SUVs have always been done.
We had to kind of follow the rules as we discovered them generically. And the first models were actually a bit square, a bit boxy. And I said, guys, we break the rules for sedans. We push and pull, we try to get the shape right. We've got to do this, have that sense of speed in it, which we love, and let it drop off. Not to infringe in the package, but to make sure that we get that sense of speed off the back of the car. The great advantage we had with this one was a new platform. We could determine where the wheels were, how long the hood of the bonnet was, where the windscreen sat, and where the cabin sat, and where the roof was. We could actually predetermine these without too much of a struggle because it was new from the ground up. And that's a pleasure that the car designers don't often get.
The key is a new, lightweight aluminium architecture.
We really had full control over where we position the wheels, the cabin, the overhangs, and that's really what gives Jaguars that sense of drama and movement, the fundamental proportions.
The Jaguar bit had to come first. And I think that's how we were able to create something which proportionally is a little bit more exciting than a generic SUV.
The public catches an early glimpse at the 2013 Frankfurt Auto Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're very proud to introduce a new Jaguar intelligent aluminium architecture.
The CX-17 concept puts the car industry on notice. Jaguar won't be going quietly into the night.
I saw the concept and it was stunning, and I thought, as long as they build that gorgeous thing, I'm fine with it.
The machine's shape wows the crowd thanks to some time-tested aesthetic choices.
Very powerful bonnet on F-Pace with that central power bulge. This is a Jaguar signature, and that's because Jaguar designers always shrunk-wrapped the exteriors around the mechanical components. As you move around to the side of F-Pace, you can see you've got this lovely, powerful front fender, and you've got that crease that runs from the front bumper through the fender and then drops and washes out through the door. That's very much a fundamental part of Jaguar sports car DNA.
It takes 2 very long years for the concept to become reality. The only question is whether it's too late.
The F-Pace really is the coming out party, the belle of the ball of a debutante. This is it. We're back. This is us. Stop looking the other way.
The machine is an immediate sensation, propelling Jaguar sales 83% higher in a single year.
The F-Pace is 50% of Jag sales. That means that the F-Pace is selling as much as the XE, the XF, the XJ, and the F-Type combined. That is a salesman's dream. You hope for that kind of thing, and then you hope that it never ever goes away, because that completely changes your company.
Few places showcase the change quite like the Solihull factory body shop, which is capable of producing a brand new F-Pace shell every 84 seconds.
It starts when we put a simple barcode on the bumper beam at the end of the body, and then it works its way through the line, having all the parts applied to it.
They've been building aluminum cars for a while, and they're into the lightweight benefits that provides.
The use of aluminium differentiates Jag while also hiding a powerful eco-secret. 1/3 of the machine's weight is comprised of recycled metal.
We also use an awful lot of recycled aluminium in our products, and 80% of all aluminium that's been produced around the world is still in use today, so it's a fantastic material for us to use.
The use of recycled aluminium helps the F-Pace shave weight, but also saves the planet. Reusing the metal requires 95% less energy than producing it from scratch.
We're in our underbody area at the moment, so we have the front of the underbody, the middle section and the rear end.
Each body shell is comprised of 354 individual parts, and each one is riveted and glued.
$660 robots in the facility is total, which apply 2,600 rivets using 300 rivet guns.
The rivets hold the pieces in place, but it's the 153 meters of adhesive that actually join the parts together.
So we have rivets that hold the part in addition, and the adhesive that gives you the structural integrity.
With the underbody completed, it's time to add the side panels. They start with the inner structural components.
The underbody now has come into the first framing station, and the body side inners will be applied by the robot.
Once the inner supports are in place, another set of robots adds the sexy exterior curves.
We're on our Framer 2 line at the moment, so this is where the body side outer is now applied to the car. So on this screen here, we can tell where the adhesive is being applied. The green tells us that we've got the correct quantity in the correct position, and that is measured on every single car.
Once the exterior side panel is glued, it's moved into position and permanently riveted into place. These days, the steadiest hum is the sound of finished body shells being sent across the Solihull campus to the paint shop.
We're in the paint shop. We have a car going through here every 1.6 minutes.
First, the bare shells are primed.
We have 5 different colours of primers, which you can see examples of as they're coming through the booth.
Next, the body heads to the base coat zone.
We have 2 sets of robots applying base coat.
One robot covers 70% of the vehicle, while the other robot spins paint at a higher speed to randomize the application. Working in unison, they paint the exteriors in one of 25 different standard colors.
So all of the base coat and clear coat robots are electrostatic, so we charge the air around it to try and drive the paint towards the car.
Once the robots are done, dedicated craftspeople paint the interior by hand.
And we're now into the clear coat zone, so similar to base coat, manual application on our interiors, exteriors done by the same type of robots.
The shells head to the quality control line, where another set of artisans ensures that the paint job is flawless. Then it's time to send a finished body to the assembly hall, where the most unlikely Jaguar ever will come to life in a matter of hours. Jaguar, a name that has resonated for nearly 100 years. Today, the mark is one of the United Kingdom's automotive crown jewels, and a brand that has successfully ensured its future, thanks to the radical decision to build an SUV.
It's jarring to see them build an SUV. It's not traditional at all. It still hits you as different.
While it may not be traditional, it is still extremely British.
What makes a Jaguar British? It's the Lion, isn't it? It's the British car. It's the interior. It's the design of the car. You know, it's them little touches that the British people put in.
Special touches installed inside the Solihull factory, where every day nearly 300 new F-Paces roll off the line.
You can really touch and feel the history as you walk around the facility. She has had an awful lot of development over the last few years as well, and a lot of investment.
The final assembly hall is 81,000 square meters in size. That's roughly equivalent to 12 football pitches. Inside these walls, 3,000 men and women put their hearts and souls into every machine.
We start at 6:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, and we finish at 6:30 p.m. on a Friday evening. So 24-hour continuous operation between those times.
The facility features 202 stations on the main line, and they move fast.
Every 8 to 7 seconds, a vehicle passes by, and the guys move on to the next one.
The build starts when aluminium body structures arrive from the paint shop.
As you can see, it's a bare shell, and the first thing we do is pop the doors off, and that's for quality and also accessing the vehicle for assembly purposes.
Once the doors are off and out of the way, the craftsperson sets the stage for the actual build.
So this is the very first part of the process. What we do is print a build card, which is effectively the recipe book for that vehicle.
Scanning the build sheet alerts the rest of the facility to what's coming.
It's all over the Midlands. We've got people in here with 30, 40 years service, and people that are quite new to the company, maybe 18 months.
I've known some people who's worked here for 40 years, their children work here, and some of their grandchildren work here now.
Roughly 28 years. Started here when I was 16 on a government training scheme. The company said, yep, let's employ him, thank God, and I'm still here today.
There are more brands building SUVs than ever before. To separate themselves from the pack, the team decides to take their hard-earned on-road luxury saloon knowledge and refocus it towards SUVs.
It's built on Jaguar's new lightweight aluminium architecture, so some of the fundamental mechanical elements we have from that toolbox, if you like.
Logically, it's very simple, right? We're just going to take a stand and lift it up a little bit, and voila, SUV.
The best part is that it's an XF. It's their front-engine, rear-drive sports sedan that's wrapped in an SUV-looking body.
Battling the competition starts with tech, but almost always comes down to people.
If you want to make a brilliant car, it's really down to passion, and we're really fortunate that we've got tons and tons of people in Jaguar that love the brand and love what they're doing.
That auto affection forms a unique type of pride inside the Solihull factory.
This company gets under your skin. The people have a passion for Jaguar, and it's not just a commodity. It's something to be proud of. So what are you assembling on the powertrain?
Colin Walton is the man leading the final assembly team. He's a 23-year company veteran who starts on the bottom rung of the ladder.
Okay, that's what we like. Great thinking that way. My father worked here. I started in the machine shop, so I was trained as a CNC setter operator for actual components. And through many years, I progressed through a number of roles in the company, and I now look after final assembly too. A great honour.
Prestige that's often put into action on stations like wiring harness install.
We preheat the harness to around 75 degrees, and that's for two reasons. It's good for ergonomics that people can manipulate quite a supple harness. Secondly, we can get the harness in exactly the right position in the vehicles.
Getting the harness into the machine is no easy task.
If you were to lay out all of the pieces of harness end to end, you'd average around 5.8 miles. So to put that into some kind of perspective, to summit Everest is 5.4 miles. So this harness end to end would summit Everest.
"84 seconds later, they install the rear tailgate. The brake booster is mounted. Coil springs. And the brake pedal is installed. Then the rest of the interior starts to take shape.
What the guys are doing here is actually using the assister, which takes the weight of the cockpit, and putting that into the vehicle, and they're about to secure that.
That hoist helps the team fasten the dashboard. But to secure their future, they've developed an in-house apprenticeship program.
Yeah, we've invested heavily in people. We've invested heavily in graduates and have healthy graduate programs and graduate placements.
We try and shadow a skilled engineer and learn what I can for the future, hopefully, where I'll be a skilled tradesman.
Just in this part of the factory alone, we have 27 active apprentices on a 5-year learning journey with the company.
I grew up in London, but I had to move specifically here for this job. Learning about the heritage, glad I could do something for England.
A third of the way through the build, the machine is finally ready to receive its seats.
Work on the seat load, on the line here. Basically, as you can see the track's moving, we've given a set amount of time to get the seats and complete our process for the next person to start.
At the end of the line, the machine switches to a hanging carrier.
We now put the vehicle into a carrier, and the way we achieve the flexibility of manufacturing is that this carrier is height adjustable. So as you look down behind me, some of these carriers move at different heights, and that's for different operations and different vehicle types.
In addition to the 202 main stations in the final assembly hall, there's also another 101 additional sub-assembly stations, including the powertrain line.
But this is actually the powertrain assembly area. So what you see behind me is a powertrain for an F-Pace.
Powertrain's built 30 miles away, inside one of the most advanced engine facilities in the world. The Roaring Cat is coming back, thanks to the decision to build an SUV for the very first time. But becoming a true Jaguar requires a bit more than just a sexy shape and a handsome interior. For years, the brand's ply and trade is pairing British elegance with powerful engine performance.
V8, V12, they sound very exotic. We love V8s. I mean, the sound of them alone sort of just draws you into the very, very soul. But things are changing, and now we can create 4-cylinder engines that are just as powerful and they're much more efficient.
To take control of their destiny, Jaguar designs a new range of 4-cylinder, high-efficiency engines.
We're just launching our new 4-cylinder Ingenium petrol engine. So we've got a 200 PS spread of power from the entry-level diesel to the highest power petrol.
Few things in the car industry are as costly as designing and building your very own motor architecture. But the payoff can be enormous.
Their own engine really gives the brand some more credibility, and it allows them to say, yeah, this is our engine, and there's a point of pride in that.
Engineering a new power plant is one thing. Manufacturing it is quite another. For the past 2 decades, the company outsources its engine building, but all that changes when the brand opens the Wolverhampton Manufacturing Centre.
That sort of capital investment is deadly serious. There's no turning back now, you know. We're creating a whole family of engines and the infrastructure to build them in a way that would have seemed inconceivable 10 or 15 years ago.
Wolverhampton is a £1 billion investment that creates 1,400 new jobs on-site and another 5,500 in the regional supply chain.
Here at the Engine Manufacturing Centre, we manufacture a new Ingenium engine. It's a 2-litre petrol and diesel, 4-cylinder, lightweight, new architect engine.
The facility uses the best tech for each specific job, and the 150 workstations use a mixture of manual, semi-automatic, and fully robotic solutions.
Our Ingenium engine is the first of our in-house engines that we're manufacturing. But to be part of bringing engine manufacturing in-house after 2 decades is just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
The word ingenium is Latin for innate talent, yet much of the aptitude on display is completely homegrown.
Classroom environment wasn't for me. I like practical, hands-on stuff, so looked for an apprenticeship and 8,000 people applied, so they were really proud of me achieving it.
If you really believe in that old-fashioned equation that better people equals a better business, then you should focus a lot of your time, your effort, your money, your resources into making people better. We embarked on an apprenticeship programme right from the very beginning.
The best part about working here is all the knowledge and experience I gained.
An engine's journey begins in the milling hall, where they machine the cylinder block, heads, and crankshaft.
We are currently in machining, so Module 1 machining factory, and this is the crankshaft line.
The raw crank is milled to remove excess material using a giant multi-tool disc.
It's got 42 different tips on each wheel, and each wheel does each half of the cranks.
We actually machine some of our components within 5 microns. You know, if you think that the average thickness of a hair on your head is about 100 microns, you know, it's 20th of that. So we're manufacturing to very precise tolerances.
The disc features a man-made diamond bit. When it's done cutting, it's sent to a 1,200 degrees Celsius oven to harden the metal. Then the crank gets polished. Across the hall, engine blocks are heated as well. This expands the metal just enough to allow a robot to insert cast iron liners into each cylinder. When the block cools down, it creates a perfect fit. Eventually, the milled blocks, cranks, and heads are all sent to the assembly hall, where they produce 1,200 engines a day. Crankshafts are prepped and then paired to their engine blocks. A few stations later, the crank is installed using a hoist. Pistons are sent to the line, readied by hand, and then robotically installed. Camshafts are installed. Then heads are placed on the engine. And finally, the turbocharger is added.
I run Zone 13, we push the wiring harness on the top. I was born here in Wolverhampton, so I'm a local lad from around the factory. For somebody to bring something so prestigious to my area, it was fantastic.
A fantastic feeling that comes with a lot of responsibility.
If we don't connect those connections properly, the heart of the car doesn't work.
All of those wires are verified in the cold test cell.
It checks the electrical connections on the engine, intake and exhaust pressures, the overall functionality of the engine, just to make sure there's no particular issues with that particular engine.
A critical investigation that takes just 154 seconds. It takes even less time to feel the pride running through the engine shop.
It's such a proud moment to think that I've had a part of putting an engine into a vehicle, such a luxurious vehicle. So, you know, it's such a sense of pride and achievement. It's really rewarding.
I was born like this. Doctors, they said that
On the road to the Solihull factory.
We're now at engine receipt. This particular sequence is a diesel engine, destined for an F-pace.
Powertrains are built up and then sent to the main line for a very special union.
So we're now at body marriage. So this is really where the vehicle gets its powertrain, gets its heart and lungs.
After the powertrain is bolted in place, they install the steering wheel, headlights, and the iconic Roaring Cat front grille.
I think it's fascinating, all the different people and different lines and how the car starts off as a shell and gets driven off at the end of the final line. It's something someone has to see once in their life. It is quite mesmerising.
Cars are the most complex things that people buy. Even, your house is more expensive, but your car's got 30,000 parts in it. These days, people expect that everything in the car is going to work perfectly every single time for 10 years.
So we're now at the end of line 7, so we're getting close to the finished vehicle. What we see here, though, is another example of innovation. The innovation isn't just about the multi-million-pound investments and ideas. The innovation comes from our people. Then we can see Paul and his little chair going about his process. And what the guys here did was created that design themselves. So they went up to the seat supplier, get a seat that was going to be thrown away, and brought the seat into the plant. And in our tool shop, actually manufactured the chairs.
Soon, the wheels and doors are installed.
So this is the exciting part with the end of line 8. So 202 assembly stations, 101 sub-assembly stations, 347 processes later, and the vehicles have actually started for the first time and driven off.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's like the big Jaguar roaring, and it's a great feeling thinking you're the first person that started that car, and it sounds beautiful.
When the machine rolls off the line, it looks ready to ship, but there's still an entire battery of tests to go.
The vehicles come from the production line, goes through a rolling road where it tests the functionality of the vehicle.
It takes 3 hours to review every part of the vehicle.
This car goes to the US, United States of America. There's 137 markets. It's an achievement. It's not just an achievement for me, but for all the team.
When I see one of these cars on the road, I'm thinking, well, I'm part of that. I'm part of putting that car there on the road, and I'm really proud of that.
Very proud. I remember seeing the first ones coming down the track and instantly fell in love with it.
Working with the cars all day, every day, you sort of take it for granted a little bit. But when you're actually abroad and you see them with a customer and the customer's got a nice smile on their face, hopefully in the sunshine, that's a nice feeling. You go, hey, we built that.
The reason why you meet so many lifers is we all fall in love with the brand. We're all on this journey to make the brand what we think it deserves to be.
A journey that blends sophisticated luxury and high performance with surprising attainability.
We do like to think Jaguar sits in a place where we have this sense of exotic, but attainable exotic, and I think that's very important for the brand.
Base F-Pace models start at £34,000, while higher spec versions top out around £52,000.
But I think what they succeeded at was making an SUV that fits so well with what we all hold so dear within Jaguars. It's gorgeous. It drives like $1 million.
It's a lot like driving a Jaguar sedan. You're just, in platform shoes. You're just sitting a little bit higher in traffic. This is a vehicle that you want. It's sexy, and it's fast, and it's an SUV, and it does all the things that you want it to do.
One of the keys to the machine's adaptability is its advanced four-wheel drive tech.
Jaguar's all-wheel drive system is very simple. It is a front-engine, rear-wheel drive car that has the ability to fade in the front axle. So by default, it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and it can lock clutches that send power to the front wheels.
The all-wheel drive system is simple to use, but complex where it counts. It can anticipate a loss of traction in just under 0.2 of a second and adapt accordingly. The result is a machine that can conquer a surprising breadth of landscapes.
Everything in the automotive world is moving to this homogeneous solution, and charm comes from the outliers. And every once in a while, Jaguar pulls off this outlier charm that no one else can beat.
Today, the brand is riding higher than ever before, thanks to the F-Pace, a gamble that's paid off.
You hate to fall into the whole drama of it, of, oh, if this car doesn't succeed, it will spell the end of Jaguar. But it would have. But it really would have.
If F-Pace missed the mark, then I think the companies within the business would fold very quickly. That, to me, was really the biggest danger, is that we'd fail ourselves.
At first, it was sacrilege, but ultimately became destiny. The Jaguar F-Pace. The most important machine ever built by one of Britain's greatest motoring marques, and the key to its continued renaissance.
If you get up early on a Sunday morning, you can enjoy driving the car on the great roads around here. But at the same time, you can get 5 adults in the car. It is the ultimate practical sports car.
You think of Jaguars as old man stodgy cars, they're actually really all about the driving experience, and that F-Pace nails it. Nails it. Rides well, handles well, drives like $1 million. All right, who are we to complain?
I see them every day. It's remarkable. If somebody had asked me 15 years ago, you can drive down the road and see Jaguar SUVs everywhere, I'd have said, no, I don't believe you.